Crystals are gorgeous and sparkly and pretty, and collecting them makes me feel like a little dragon. If you ascribe to the belief, they also have a lot of like fun healing properties. Whether it's the placebo effect or not, who cares? It's fun. I've got 10 books for 10 crystals. Yeah, you're just gonna start. Let's bring on the books. I feel like this is an obvious one to start with. We're gonna start with clear quartz. I love this piece. This was a lovely Christmas gift and it's so pretty. Ancient Greeks referred to quartz as crystallos, which means icy cold, because they believed it to be a permanent form of ice that was so cold it would never melt, which is so cool to me. Clear quartz is supposed to be like a master healer and will amplify the positive energy of pretty much everything. I know a lot of people use clear quartz with other crystals to help like amplify specific things they're getting from other crystals. It's just like an all-around good vibe. The book that I picked for clear quartz is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This is a very sad romance between college kid Toru and Naoko, whose mutual passion is shaped by the death of their best friend a few years earlier. This is a very nostalgic, very quiet, very somber book. I do remember there being a lot of snow. A significant portion of it takes place over the winter, so like icy cold. Even though it is sad, it's very calming. It's weirdly like quite comforting. A good coming of age story that was just like a very quiet story felt like the vibe of a clear quartz to me. The next one we're gonna pick is amethyst. I love my little amethyst geode. Powerful, protective, supposedly guards against psychic attack and stress, ill wishes from others, and is like very helpful for opening your intuition. Because of the color of amethyst, Greeks named it after the word for wine because they believed that wine-colored crystals would ward off drunkenness. And now it's considered like a good crystal for encouraging sobriety rather than staving off drunkenness so you can drink more. The book that I picked for this was Son of a Trickster by Eden Robinson. Son of a Trickster is about Jared, who from the outside looks like one of those typical burnout kids with a very scary alcoholic mom. But Jared is like a very sweet kid who's caught in the middle of a really bad family situation. But it's also like a magical realism fantasy story, and he is the son of a trickster, if you couldn't guess by the title, talks to ravens, has some witchy powers thrown in there. The reason I picked this for Amethyst is Jared is battling with his own sobriety for most of this first book. I thought that was like an appropriate choice for the amethyst wine-colored stone, but it's also about him coming to terms with his own magical powers, learning to protect himself and the people he cares about, and not just the people he cares about, but like also caring about himself when no one else in his life seems to all that much. It's about protection and intuition and magic, and like that just feels like the perfect pick for our little amethyst. The next we have is selenite, and I've got what is called like an angel wand. It's like dusty. I don't know if y'all know this. I love this. If you turn on a flashlight, it glows. It's so cool. Okay, so on that note, it's sometimes referred to as liquid light, supposedly from like the healing prospects of it being a healing tool and like clearing out stagnant or heavy energies, leaving space for like a liquid healing energy. But I think it's because it lights up like that. It's so cool. Selenite was also named after a Greek goddess. These Greeks knew what they were doing. Named after the Greek goddess of the moon, Selene, and is like really focused on enhancing your divine feminine energy. This feels like a really easy pick. For this one, the book that I picked is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan, and I also just have to show you this cover because I think it's so pretty. This is the first in a fantasy duology about Xing Yin, who lives on the moon with her mother, but unbeknownst to her, her mother has been exiled by the Celestial Emperor to live on the moon. So one day her magic kind of flares and she is discovered, must leave her home and her mother, and winds up training her magic with the crown prince. And then eventually the story follows that she challenges the emperor in order to free her mother from exile. So like, duh, it's about a moon goddess. I think this is a good fantasy for like newbies to the genre if you're not super big on like high fantasies. And it's a story to get really lost in. Also, it's so pretty. That is your recommendation if you love your selenite. The next stone is the onyx. I've just got a little one. This is a stone of protection and strength, helps the wearer stay very grounded. It's good for stamina, self-confidence, decision-making, and it's considered like the gem of Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma and lessons, so this is like a really good stone to work with when you are maybe trying to unravel your own karma dharma. those things. The book that I picked for this is Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson, which I fucking love. This is about a young woman, Lisbeth Salander, who is the epitome of taking revenge on people who have wronged her. And we're also following Mikhail Blomkvist, who is a disgraced journalist, and they join forces to unravel a cold case and catch a murderer. So a good revenge story is the best pick for Onyx because it's the gem of Saturn, it's the gem of karma. You do bad things happen to you. Blomkvist is also a really grounding presence for Lisbeth and kind of keeps her focused on the task at hand. I recommend this for like a million different reasons, and you'll see that on different videos on the channel, but I think it was a good pick for Onyx. The rose quartz. I love my rose quartz. This was one of the first crystals I ever bought. This is known as the Stone of Unconditional Love. It's good for relationships, platonic and romantic, but is also really good for like self-love and self-forgiveness. This derives from the Greek word hyalos, or hyalos, I don't know how to say it, meaning glass, because one story about the rose quartz is that Aphrodite, when she was like running through the forest to save Adonis, she tripped and fell on thorns, and I guess she was holding white quartz or like had white quartz on her, and the blood like stained the white quartz because of the strength of her love. The book that I picked for the rose quartz is The Ballerinas, and also it matches. Yay! The Ballerinas by Rachel Kapell-Kadale. I've talked about this quite a lot in recent months because I really liked it. This follows a trio of ballerinas, and the main character, Delphine, is returning after 13 years to choreograph like a big ballet piece for her old studio and make things right with her friends. But it's also a thriller, so there's like secrets and plot twists. It was a fun, wild, crazy time. Delphine makes a lot of mistakes in this book, especially with her friends and with people that she takes for granted. And I think that it's a good choice for the rose quartz because she really has to come to terms with the fact that she also needs to give that love back to them. The next crystal is the lovely opal. This is a very emotional stone. It's said to really intensify your emotions and release inhibitions. It's considered to be both absorbent and reflective. So when you're feeling something, it will like absorb that emotion and then reflect it back to you. And with other people, it will take in their emotions and reflect it back to them. So it's also protecting you from like negative feelings, maybe grief or like super overwhelming emotions from other people that are trying to like tack on to you. Because of that, encourages independence and freedom, stimulates creativity, and is about like expressing your true self. The book I picked for this one is one I just recently finished, Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. I loved this story. This is a historical fiction set in the 1950s. About Lily Hu, who is a young Chinese American dealing with the Red Scare paranoia at the time and the risk of her father's deportation while discovering that she is a lesbian. And so she's also exploring her sexuality in a time where that is not okay. A large part of this takes place at the Telegraph Bar, which is a lesbian bar, which is the only place where she can like actually express that. It's about expressing your true self and also about the fight to being allowed to express your true self without fear of recourse. It's about independence and freedom and the lack thereof. And it gives a really intersectional approach to both the Chinese American experience in the 50s and the LGBTQ experience. I would say that the Telegraph Club kind of acts like the opal, where it releases her inhibitions about her own sexuality and like lets her express herself and be free in that way. The next one, I freaking love this stone. It's a good stone for me. This is not technically a crystal, I guess it's a stone. This is Dalmatian jasper. And it's so cute. So this is a very childlike, playful stone. It's good for analytical types like myself. Reminds us to enjoy the simple things in life, feel lighthearted. It's just like a fun, childlike stone. The book I picked for this, which also matches it, is Howl's Moving Castle. And they match and they're cute, and well, they kind of match. They match a little bit. They match in concept. Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones is about Sophie Hatter, who is put under a curse by the Witch of the Waste and seeks out the help of Howl, who is a wizard who is said to eat young girls, and meets Michael, Howl's apprentice, and Calcifer the fire demon, and it's about her trying to get rid of her curse. So this is a middle grade book, and it really didn't feel like a middle grade book to me. It's just so charming. It's so lighthearted and so fun. There's wizard battles and magic, and it's just like a whole fun time. I would say this is good for people who consistently read pretty dark or heavy stories and just like need to take a bit of a break and enjoy something. Like me. I can't imagine anyone not enjoying this book. Also, I prefer it to the movie significantly. I mean, the movie's good, but it's not the same story at all. So if you've seen the movie, you have not, you don't know the story of this book. Our next crystal is citrine. So I have a little one so I can keep it in my wallet, because this is known as the merchant's stone. So this is very helpful for wealth and prosperity, helps connect to yourself, improve your self-esteem, and it's also known as the sunstone. It was believed to be a gift from the sun. It produces positive energy that makes you feel like the way a glass of cold water makes you feel on a sunny day. That's the vibe of citrine. I picked The Reading List by Sarah Nisha Adams. This follows two characters who both discover a crumpled up list of books at their local library. These books kind of connect them and support them through a difficult time in both of their lives. They become very unlikely friends, work together to save the branch of their local library, and it's really about like the love of books and the ability of books to kind of transcend experiences and bring people together. I love this book so fucking much. And it will just like fill you with that positive energy. It's also about like finding a way to save their local library. And so that's something that requires like a securing of wealth, like citrine, right? Check the triggers on that one as well. It feels lighthearted and hopeful, but there are some heavy themes in it. So the next one I don't own. Tiger's Eye was a crystal that was used in a lot of different cultures as a protective amulet. It was said to ward off curses. It's very focused on inviting its wearer to like embrace strength and their inner willpower. And it is named after the tiger as a reminder of trusting our like predator or beast instincts, like those instincts that you get at the bottom of your stomach. The book I picked for this one, Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. This follows the very bookish Thomas Senlin and his new wife Maria as they go to what is called the Tower of Babel, which you can see on the front here. That's where this fantasy sci-fi takes place. When they get there on their honeymoon, he promptly loses her in the rush of onlookers and shoppers and people. Senlin has to find her and is determined to find her, but has to navigate the tower in order to do so. Senlin is someone who cannot make decisions at the beginning of this book and loves sitting at home with a book. This is like the one adventure of his lifetime that he was going to do with his wife, and he lost her. He's a very unlikely fantasy protagonist. I think that's why I liked this so much, is it wasn't just like the rebel leader who was about to fight the war and save the universe. It's just like a guy. And his journey is like to really discover that inner strength and that willpower, that ability to make decisions and do crazy things. Senlin needs the tiger's eye. Our last stone that we're going to talk about is malachite. So malachite is so pretty. I wish I had one. This comes from the Greek word malakos, which means soft. And the stone is considered to be a heart opener. It's about making you soft. So it is a protection stone. So it's focused on flushing out negative energy, giving you strength, but it's giving you strength to like open up and trust other people, bring other people into your life. And it's also known as the stone of transformation, helps you to embrace change. The book I picked for this one, and like hear me out, it makes sense, is Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. This follows a couple who move back to their hometown with their son Oliver and are trapped in the gist of the story. They are basically like trapped in a cycle of dark energy, good versus evil, and possibly the end of the world. And they gotta figure it out. So this is a horror, but this book is all about family love and support and communication. It is about protecting who and what we love. It's about confiding in and accepting others' support. It's about how as a community we have more courage than we have by ourselves. And it's absolutely about transformation and change, just like as a whole. It's dark and it's weird and it's kind of heady, but it's so good. And I really do think this is the perfect pick for malachite because it feels like aggressive and like I'll protect you against negative energy on the outside. It's a horror, so there's like a barrier there, but then you get inside and like it's a story about just like love and family and community and opening up your heart. And I love that so much. Those are my 10 books for 10 crystals, 10 books for your favorite crystal, whatever the fuck I'm calling this. video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a good time putting this all together. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you enjoy this content. Go and check out this video if you want to watch something else from me, and I will see you all next time.